Morning, Dave.
Shh! We're in the middle of an official evaluation.
You're looking at a blank clipboard.
That's exactly what prototype number 14 said.
There wasn't a prototype number 13?
There isn't any more.
Should I be worried?
Only if you brought the wrong rum. Aloha, friends! Welcome to another episode of Tiki and Enlightenment with yours truly, Dave the Comb-Over. Today in the Comb-Over Cabana, we're diving into the Test Pilot. A cocktail so good, somebody looked at it and said, you know who should try this? The guy flying an experimental airplane. And here's Jesse, my reluctant sidekick. He's here to mix the drink while I do the important work. Tell him the story and looking fantastic.
And here's Dave, a delusional rod puppet. He's here to freak you out with his unusually large head and receding hairline.
In 1941, the Test Pilot was attributed to Donn Beach during the original Donn the Beachcomber era in Hollywood, California. Now here's the thing. People think Donn Beach was just another bartender. He wasn't. He was an inventor.
Some prefer the term intoxication designer, but didn't every bartender invent drinks back then?
Sure. Just like everybody with a hammer is a carpenter. There's a difference between making something and creating something people spend the next 90 years trying to copy. Donn wasn't following recipes, he was writing them. And then he hid them.
Wait, he hid his own recipes?
Absolutely. Picture this. It's your first day working behind the bar at Donn the Beachcomber. You're nervous. You've got customers waiting. So you walk up to Donn and ask, Mr. Beach, how do I make the Test Pilot?
Seems like a reasonable question.
Maybe Donn hands you a notebook. You open it. It says, Donn's mix, spices number 2, syrup number 4, gardenia mix? That's it. No explanation, no ingredients, just good luck.
So the bartender's first assignment was code breaking. Figure it out, kid. If you can, I'll give you a promotion to beach peon.
Exactly. It was less of a recipe and more of a scavenger hunt.
Whew, I'd be looking for another job. If I need cryptography credentials to bartend, it's time to go to barber school. Or go back to college. Or it's time to dry clean my G-string.
And that's exactly what Donn was counting on. He knew if every bartender knew his recipes, they can walk across town, open their own tiki bar, and suddenly everybody's serving Donn Beach cocktails.
So the secret wasn't just making a good drink. It was making sure nobody else could copy it. Stop trying to copy me, man.
Inspection passed. He protected his recipes the same way an inventor protected his blueprints. The drinks were the products, the recipes were the intellectual property.
That's actually pretty smart.
It worked too. For decades, people knew the names of these cocktails, but nobody knew exactly how to make them. Some recipes were thought to be gone forever. They sound sad. Let's build this thing. Start with 1.5 ounces of Dark Jamaican Rum. That's our foundation. Every great invention starts with something strong enough to build on.
You know, if I was pouring some Kraken, I would say, release the, but someone procured the wrong blend of Kraken.
Oh, the talent doesn't do the shopping. Now, add 3/4 of an ounce of light Puerto Rican rum. Here's where Donn Beach started separating himself from everyone else. Most bartenders reach for one bottle. Donn reached for another. And then another. He wasn't looking for one perfect rum. He was experimenting until he found the perfect combination.
I'm betting he just didn't want his rums to feel left out. Like they spoke to him. And to negotiate with him, he said, "What happens if I try this?"
Prototype approved. Today's classics were yesterday's experiments.
How many versions do you think he made before he finally got it right? Or passed out?
Nobody knows. Could have been 5, maybe even 50. That's the thing about inventors. Nobody remembers prototype number 1. They remember the one that worked.
So somewhere there's a drink we'll never know about because Donn took one sip and went, "Nope, flush, next."
Absolutely. Every inventor has failures. The smart ones don't put them on the menu. Next, add a half an ounce of fresh lime juice. Fresh. Always fresh.
Your tiki bar scientists were so preoccupied with whether they could use bottled juice, they never stopped to think if they should. And bottled juice tastes like
I have no idea what movie you're quoting.
You've never seen Jurassic Park? You heathen swine puppet.
I've been to the enchanted Tiki room. Why would I need dinosaurs? Here's something I do know. Fresh lime wasn't an easy choice. Fresh lime took more work, but it gave Donn the brightness, and the controlled bottled alternatives couldn't match. That's an important difference.
And someone had a lime tree in their front yard. Free produce.
Exactamundo! Next, add a half an ounce of falernum, or however history intends us to pronounce it.
And yet somehow, the only thing people can remember is that you can't pronounce it. Falernum.
I can. I simply choose historical accuracy from an alternate history.
That's not how pronunciation works. And now, people hate all that multiverse crap. I bet even Stan Lee hates the multiverse now, even though he's dead.
History is written by the survivors. If I keep on saying it wrong long enough, future generations will think I'm right.
Future generations also might think, poor guy must have had multiple and totally unnecessary brain operations. And I'm pretty sure that's still not how history works.
Depends who writes the history books. One of the reasons the original cocktails disappeared for decades was because nobody could decode the recipe books. Former bartenders remembered little pieces. Old notebooks surfaced. People compared notes. Eventually, Tiki historian Jeff Beachbum Berry helped piece many of these recipes back together.
Sounds like a national treasure drinking game. Every time someone decodes an ingredient, they take a shot. So, without that detective work, this drink could have been lost. Nick Cage could have found it though. He knew Donn Beach, I think. Yeah, they used to surf the same spots.
Exactly. Some recipes weren't rediscovered because someone found a bottle. They were rediscovered because someone found a clue. This video is sponsored by Wilderness Adventure Goods.
Of course it is. Because nothing says adventure like you trying to sell people furniture during happy hour.
The legendary now serving chalkboard menu. A masterpiece of rustic elegance. Adventureland, Bel-Air. Meet your home tiki bar.
Translation? It's a chalkboard you can write rum on every night.
How dare you? This just isn't a chalkboard, Jesse. This is a chance to announce today's special. Whether it's Mai Tais, zombies, or the sad reality of whatever's left in the spit bucket. They come in rustic or in shipwreck styles, because sometimes paradise needs options.
Yeah, like rustic elegance, if you want to impress. Or shipwrecked if you want everyone to think your bar barely survived a hurricane.
Exactly. Wilderness Adventure Goods. Helping your tiki bar look like it just washed ashore since I decided it should.
Well, you can check them out at wildernessadventuregoods.com and listen to Dave tell you about them for another 10 minutes.
Buy one today and your bar will thank you. Jesse, cue the dramatic outro music.
You mean humming the Jaws theme again?
Perfect! Now, we're entering my favorite part of the experiment, the fine tuning. Add a half an ounce of Cointreau?
Cointreau.
Huh?
Cointreau.
Sorry, control? Contrail? Coin truck? Coin purse?
It's pronounced Cointreau, like Montreux, with a C.
In what language?
French, like the mustard for brains you have oozing out of your ear.
Oh, sure it is. Everything sounds fancier when you say it in French.
That's because it is French. What was that line in the last good Matrix movie? It's like wiping your hand with silk.
Actually, before Jesse starts grading my pronunciation, jerk, let's talk about what Cointreau really is. The Cointreau family founded their distillery in Angers, France in 1849. Edward Cointreau later developed the orange liqueur that became Cointreau during the late 19th century. It's made by distilling the essence of sweet and bitter orange peels, using both dried peels and fresh sweet peels. That gives it brightness, sweetness, and just enough bitterness to keep it interesting.
It's like triple sec with a better wig, riding in a Peugeot through Paris, with fresh baguettes in the backseat, with a look on its face saying, "Disgusting," as it rides past the local Burger King.
Mostly, triple sec is a broad style of orange liqueur. Cointreau is a specific premium brand within that family.
You know, Donn Beach could have just written orange liqueur, but he didn't. Maybe, much like you, he couldn't spell it.
Exactly. Because inventors didn't say, "Hand me a screwdriver." They say, "Hand me that Robertson number 2 screwdriver." Specific parts, specific results. That's how prototypes become classics.
He probably wanted this ingredient for a specific reason, like it was on sale that week.
Anybody can mix ingredients. Inventors know why each one belongs. That's the difference. Next, 1 dash of Angostura bitters.
This is like Nick Fury showing up at the end of the drink. Or the movie.
Who?
Never mind, I forgot your arms are too short to change the channel to Disney Plus.
As long as he brings bitters, he's welcome in the cabana. Here's a funny thing. Most people couldn't tell you bitters are in the drink, but they absolutely notice if they weren't. The best engineering usually goes unnoticed, because everything just works. Now, add 6 drops of Pernod.
Pernod? Sounds like someone with aversions to oddly shaped fruit. Pernod.
It's a French anise liquor. Think black licorice. But don't panic, we've never used this before in the Comb-Over Cabana.
Should I be worried?
Only if you drink the whole bottle. The original test pilot called for Pernod. Pernod. Nowadays, a lot of bartenders use absinthe instead, because it gives a similar flavor and it's easy to find.
So today we're going with the original recipe, not extra crispy, new Coke, Pepsi-free, Fresca, new recipe? Ugh, Fresca.
Prototype approved. If we're talking about Donn Beach, I like to get as close to the blueprint as possible. Now, before anybody starts worrying, this isn't here to take over the drink. We're adding 6 drops, not 6 ounces.
So this isn't gonna taste like black licorice?
Not even close.
Okay, we're not really tasting Pernod. We're tasting what it does to everything else. It's not peeing in the pool, but it could be if you're not careful.
That's a mark of a great finishing ingredient. It isn't trying to be noticed. It's making everything around it better. Fill it with crushed ice.
Okay, there's like no empirical evidence that crushed ice is a superior temperature balancing methodology. And I believe multiple journals of mixology have stated,
"We're 8 minutes in, and science waits for no man." This is where we simulate turbulence. Shake accordingly.
Roger Tar, we're on final approach. Oh, turbulence! Eject!
Wrong simulator. Let's keep it simple. Finish it with just a cherry. The more I learn about Donn Beach, the less I think of him as a bartender and more like a pioneer.
I think he would burn you with the stake for stealing his look, or throw you in a tumbler, pour you into a coffin, and garnish you with some bullets.
Bartenders follow recipes, inventors write them. Everything we've added today, every rum, every spice, every tiny adjustment, was solving a problem. That's why this drink still feels modern almost 90 years later.
Because he wasn't chasing trends, he was chasing the best possible version. The way your hair is pursuing the back of your head. That's it.
Prototype 27 approved.
Can I try?
Proceed.
First thing I noticed, it's balanced. The citrus shows up first, then the spices. Then right at the end, that tiny hint of Pernod. Nothing takes over. Everything works together. Except that cherry.
That's exactly it. Nothing in the glass is here by accident. Anybody can mix ingredients. An inventor knows why each one belongs. Donn Beach knew exactly what he was building.
You know, that's probably the smartest thing you've said all day long. And it's been a long day.
Don't get used to it. Get one per episode. The test pilot reminds us that great cocktails aren't accidents. They're built, tested, refined, and improved. If you enjoyed today's little scientific experiment, give us a like, give us a subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss our next adventure. Thanks for spending some time with us here in the Comb Over Cabana. Until next time, mahalo zowie! Hakuna Mafasa! Alright, listen up you hooligans! We have fun here. We make drinks. We make bad decisions. But not that bad.
Yeah, drinking and driving is about as smart as telling the FAA you passed flight school in your pajamas.
You drink, you don't drive. Simple. Call a cab, get a ride, or just sleep on your buddy's questionable couch.
Or better yet, stay at home and drink responsibly. Preferably while watching more of our videos.
See? Smart thinking. Now be safe, be responsible, and pour me another, Jesse.
It's
It's a weird looking cherry, right?
Yeah, it's kind of miserable looking.